Have you ever wondered why some people can charge more for the exact same thing? Have you ever wondered why some agencies can charge this much for their digital marketing services and others charge that much, right? Why can that happen? Why is it? Is it their experience? Is it their background? Is it their ability to have the guts to actually pull it off? In this video, we're gonna be diving into the one thing that I see that agencies can do to charge more and be able to claim the value that they actually provide. Let's jump into it. What does it mean to you to be expensive? Now, expensive is kind of a funny word because it's different to everyone. What someone sees as being expensive, someone else sees as being cheap. And it's all about that perspective. Each of us has a threshold. Each of us has a number in our mind by which when it passes that number, it ceases to become cheap or reasonable and moves into being expensive. The question is, how does that actually get formed? How do we actually form our opinions as to what expensive is and what's cheap? So I want to share with you a quick idea around how you can actually frame your own thinking to understand why you're actually worth more than you might be charging right now. So the number one thing that you can understand about your business is how much value you are actually providing to a client. The more value that you provide to the client, the more they're willing to invest to achieve that value with you. Now, understanding the value that you provide might sound like a crazy idea. Like, okay, Mike, I get it. If someone sees me as being more valuable, they're willing to spend more money. I get it. But how do we actually figure out what that value is? And I tell you, it's not as crazy or hard as it might sound. So here's an example, and it starts with you understanding what the value of one client is to your customer. Let's take, for example, landscaping. Now, Home Guide says that on average, a new landscaping install project is gonna range from $3,000 on the low end to almost $16,000 on the high end. That means that the average dollar sale for a landscaper is somewhere around $9,500. So the question that you have to ask yourself and something that you need to ask your client is, if you were to engage with that client, what is the likelihood that you would be able to bring on more customers? Because in the example of the landscaper, each one of them is worth on average $9,500. So could you bring on one new client per month? 2, 3, 5, 10, 20? Are you starting to see where I'm going with this here? That each one of those clients is worth real money to that business. And you as the marketer, as the web designer, as the person who's helping them create more customer activity is directly responsible for that increase in their business. And this is something where now we can see that the combination of your ability to generate customer activity and knowing the average dollar sale for a business is where we can start to pinpoint what engaging in those services is actually worth to that client. And guess what? For the right kind of client, your value is massive. I want you to understand that you deserve to get paid based off of the value that you provide and not the time it takes. Don't get stuck in trading time for money. Trade money for value. This is how you charge more. You simply find clients where you can provide maximum value and then charge accordingly. This is how you build your recurring revenue higher and higher. You see, there is gold in your backyard. You're missing out on cash from clients that you already work with. Stop missing the point. The idea is not to sell a client one thing and then move on to the next one. That's a recipe for failure. The idea is to acquire clients and continue to service them again and again and again and again and again and again. I see this all too often. Agencies have half-built value ladders. They've done all the hard work to find the client, and then they act as if there's nothing else they can help their client with. The name of the game is recurring revenue. The plan is easy and therefore easy to skip. So number 1, acquire the client. Number 2, enroll them in your services. Number 3, do great work. Number 4, enroll them in more services. Number 5, do great work. Number 6, enroll them in your services. Number 7, do great work. Number 8, enroll them in your services. Number 9, do great work. Do you get it yet? Do this until they're enrolled in all of your services. This is how you build your recurring revenue higher and higher and higher. There's gold in your backyard. And if you don't want it, someone else is going to take it. It's time to own your agency and own your life. If you want to double your agency,
How do you do it? Here's my plan, and I hope it helps you. Growing any business is about having influence over 5 different variables: leads, conversion rate, number of transactions per client, average dollar sale, and margins. Let's say you have 100 leads and a 20% conversion rate. That means you'd have 20 clients. 20 clients that buy from you on average one time and spend $5,000 means you'd have $100,000 in revenue. With margins of 25%, that means you'd keep $25,000 in profits. Easy, right? Well, when most agencies set out to double their profits, they make it entirely too hard on themselves. Did you know that a meager 15% increase in each of these 5 categories doubles your profits? Here's what I mean. Your 100 leads is now 115. Your 20% conversion rate is now 23%. Your 1 transaction per client is now 1.15. Your $5,000 average dollar sale is now $5,750, and your 25% margin is now nearly 29%. Let's see how the math shakes out. 115 leads times your 23% conversion rate means you'll now have 26 clients. 26 clients that buy from you on average 1.15 times and spend $5,750 means that you now have $165,313 in revenue. With margins of 29% means you now keep $47,941 in profit, doubling your business. My question to you is, do you believe that a 15% increase in each of these categories is possible? Most agencies overcomplicate this and try to grow their agency by focusing all their efforts on just one of these variables. So why make it so hard? For example, in order to double your agency, just focusing on the number of leads, you'd have to double your leads. What's easier, going from 100 to 200 leads or going from 100 to 115 leads? Now the answer is obvious to me, and I hope it's now obvious to you. When I realized that this incremental change in all of these different categories would result in the goal that I wanted, it became so much easier to achieve. When you build your plan to increase your business, build a plan that impacts all 5 of these categories. These 5 moves will double your agency. I'd like to invite you to join me for our upcoming Agency War Plan 5-Day Challenge. Join us over at agencywarplan.com and let's build your personalized agency war plan to double your revenue. Gain clarity and certainty in your digital agency so that way you can finally own an agency that creates the time and financial freedom that you deserve. Head over to agencywarplan.com and join us for this special limited event.